to this week's edition of Inside the Capitol. My name is Maggee.
I'm Jason Atkins, Executive Director of the Minnesota Catholic Conference. We're glad to be with you for another Inside the Capitol update.
Yeah, we are wrapping up the legislative session. They had their last official day of session yesterday, so we're here to just update you on the dynamics. We don't have a lot settled yet. We're waiting to see what will happen. But Jason, do you want to share a little bit more about how the session ended?
So it's an important thing to keep in mind that the legislature is constitutionally mandated to pass a balanced budget in the first year of every legislative biennium. So that's where we are right now. Now, they passed a lot of budget bills on a number of topics, but they haven't passed all of them. And so they need to pass a full budget covering all the areas of state government. And they need to do so realistically before July 1st, when government goes into shutdown if certain budget items aren't passed and there's not things and responsibilities of state government that are funded. Now, even further or closer to that is June 1st, when layoff notices will start going out if certain agencies or certain activities are not funded. So they are really focused on meeting in what's known a special session that the governor will have to call. So right now what's happening is that legislators and legislative leaders, particularly committee chairs and legislative leaders, are having mostly closed-door meetings about creating the details of what a budget agreement might look like across a number of bills, whether it's health, K-12 education, taxes, jobs, energy, transportation are some of the big ones that they're working out. A lot of those will probably be finalized today. Some will be finalized tomorrow if everything goes well, if they're able to get along, if they're able to strike a deal. And then Thursday and potentially Friday, in a perfect world, they will go, the governor will call a special session, the legislature will convene and pass those bills before the Memorial Day break. But we've still got a lot of outstanding issues still in play, even in this late hour of the session. We were here all weekend working on it. We're going to be here the next couple days, making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Maggie, what are some of those issues?
Yeah, so there are a lot of issues still on the table. Jason mentioned lots of budget areas still in negotiation. Many of our key issues we've been talking about all session are still not worked out. So we are waiting to see the child tax credit, for example, is in the tax bill, a small baby bonus increase via that. So we're waiting to see what will come from the tax bill. We are really hoping that the cuts to Nonpublic Pupil Aid don't happen. We have a lot of confidence in that, but still waiting to see what's going to come from that E12 education bill.
Yeah, nothing's done until it's done. We do have another action alert up on our website at mncatholic.org through the Catholic Advocacy Network, and already within 24 hours we're having a huge response because nothing is done until it's done. You just don't know how the end of session dynamics are going to play out, what's going to be on the negotiating table, what curveball might or monkey wrench might get thrown into the process. So you just have to dot your I's and cross your T's. It always feels like you're doing too much, but you don't want to be in the position of having done too little. So we're going to be vigilant till the very end.
What if we could have done X, Y, or Z? And you probably have heard, if you've been watching the local news or following some of our stuff, all the press conferences that leaders have been having, heard about maybe their budget deal and everything, but that's something the leaders came up with, and lots of legislators have their own views. So that's why we just have to remain vigilant on all of these issues, because we never know when push comes to shove what's going to actually happen. So the Nonpublic Pupil Aid is a big one. The increase in child tax credit is something we're hoping will be maintained, but then sports gambling, the never-ending thing, it keeps coming back.
Like a ghoul in a midnight horror film, sports gambling tries to continue to rise from the dead. We have put a stake through its heart, seemingly 3 times, but you just never know if people will still try to work that some way, whether in the form of a study or something into the tax bill or some other vehicle. We're hopeful that that doesn't move forward. And obviously the big one that's been generating a lot of headlines is Minnesota Care for our undocumented brothers and sisters. Now, what is clear is that that health insurance program will stay in effect for children, which is a big win, because 2 years ago they didn't have access, even kids did not have access to it. So that's a big win in terms of keeping that there and accessible. Then the question is what's that going to look like for adults going forward? Now, the legislative leaders and the governor agreed to remove coverage as part of the budget deal. The question
for adults only.
For adults.
Yeah.
The question though is given what's happening at the federal level with potential cuts to Medicaid, threats from the Trump administration to cut Medicaid aid because of the accessibility for undocumented immigrants. So I think over the next year, as that program is still in effect till the end of 2025, can legislators come to some other solution, whether we call it Minnesota Care or something else, to provide more access to the undocumented. Now, clearly, people can go to emergency rooms and get care, but that's costs all of us more money, and makes healthcare more expensive for all of us. So if we can create an opportunity for people to buy insurance, it's not free, if we can create an opportunity for people to access insurance, how will that help drive costs down? And then at the same time, get people basic levels of preventative care as well. So that's still very much in play. We'll see how that shakes out. More than likely, that's something that will have to keep getting discussed over the course of the next calendar year, especially as the things at the federal level become more clear. So a lot of key headline-making issues. MTC's right at the center of those, and we'll see how these things unfold in the next couple of days. But again, especially if you're concerned about the cuts to Nonpublic Pupil Aid, go to our website, mncatholic.org. Take action. It's really important that everyone continue to make their voice heard on that issue and all the other ones too.
Right, and we'll see what comes of the special session. We, like Jason said up top, we expect that to happen hopefully later this week. If not this week, definitely next week. So the leaders have said. So we'll keep vigilant on all these issues, let you guys know what's happening at the Capitol, and just really encourage you to stay involved to the very end.
Great. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Inside the Capitol. We'll see you next week.